What's going on, guys? Got the RGB build back. We're going to be doing some follow-ups on this. If you want to check out the original build, I'm going to leave the link right around. Yep. So today we're going to do some thermals and some benchmarking and stuff like that. We're going to do some synthetic benchmarks, some gaming benchmarks, you know, the whole 9 yards. So how about we just get into it? Let's do it. Alright, guys. So I'm in the UEFI BIOS right now. I've got a clock, overclock, I'm sorry, set to 4.8 gigahertz. I went to 5, and I didn't really mess with the voltage much or anything. I just wanted a quick and dirty overclock, just, you know, to give a good comparison with no voltage changes whatsoever. I've got my voltage, I believe, set to 1.5, and that's 1.504 to be exact, as you can see here, with a 3000 megahertz frequency on my RAM. I went up to 5 gigahertz, but it was hitting around, the thermals were like around 81 degrees Celsius, which is still within operational range of a KB Lake processor, but I'd like longer lifespan, so I want to keep my temps in the mid to low 70s if possible, or at least somewhere in the 70s max under load. So I did drop it back down to 4.8 gigahertz, and I think, you know, for my needs and everything, that's going to be just fine. I'm still getting a lot of extra performance out of that, you know, with the base at 4.2 all the way up to 4.8. I think that's a solid overclock for a KB Lake 7700K. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and go with. And as you can see here, there's not a lot really changed. Like I said, just a quick dirty overclock for now. I may mess with the voltage later and see if I can keep it in the high 70s max on thermals. And just play with the voltage and everything. But for now, I'm just going to do just the base clock, or just the overclock of 4.8, and I'm going to go from there and see how everything goes. Alright, so let's boot this thing up and see what we get on thermals and some benchmarks and everything else. Let's do it! Alright, guys, so I opened a bunch of different software. I wanted to get a good variety going here. So I've got the NZXT cam software monitors. I've got Core Temp 1.7. I've got a hardware monitor and CPU-Z. Just to give you guys kind of a different comparison of everything that's going on here. So I've got that 4.8 gigahertz overclock going. I've obviously got, you know, video software running and these programs running, and I'm running dual monitors. But other than that, this is kind of you're going to be your thermals and everything, just base, mostly idle, I guess. So you see that I'm running around 40s, 50s on the clocks. They're kind of bouncing around a little bit. But overall, I've got a CPU temp of around mid to low 40s here. And that's with a 18 to 20 or so percent load. And I'm running my graphics card with no overclock at the moment. I might go back and overclock it a bit just to get that free performance in there. But right now it's running at base speeds, and yeah. So I mean, you can see that the temps are bouncing around a little bit in the hardware monitor here, and I'm staying around that 4.8 gigahertz area. So all in all, that's pretty comfortable. I'd like to see it a little lower, since I'm running that Corsair liquid cooling unit, but this isn't too bad with a high-end overclock like 4.8 gigahertz. I'm comfortable with this. This is looking pretty good to me. So yeah, let's move on to a load test. I think I'm gonna run Unigine Heaven benchmark. I'm gonna run that for a little while. I'm gonna see what those high temps get like, and then I will get back to you guys. So let's get to it. Okay, guys. So I've been running Unigine Heaven for about 25, 30 minutes now. I saw the temp over here get up to 69, 70, kind of bouncing between. It never passed 70 though, so I think we're good. This is more of a graphics test, but as you can see, it's running around like 120 to 150. It's kind of bouncing around depending on the the different scenes and tessellation and everything. Let me go ahead and show you the settings here. I've just got it on 1080. Unfortunately, I'm still running 1080 monitors, which suits my needs just fine for now. I have VSync turned off. but I've got everything else running. Anti-aliasing, 4x is going. Um, so that's all good. It's staying really cool. I'm really pleased with the graphics. And I'm gonna go ahead and shut down this now and real quickly get over to the core temp thermals so that you can see the CPU temperatures under load. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. And give it just a second here to close out. Okay. So as you can see, the temps are in the mid 40s, 50 areas. I see a few 50s bouncing. You can see it maxed out with the core number 1 obviously being the hottest at 71 degrees Celsius. And then the other cores were 66, 69, 67. So really good temperatures for a 4.8 gigahertz overclock. Again, I didn't touch the voltage, so this is just a quick and dirty overclock, but that's really pleasing. It ran really smooth the whole time it ran. So that's really good. I'm liking these temperatures. Pretty good thermals. I think I'm gonna go ahead and run Firestrike next, and we're gonna test that out. I'm gonna run that for about half an hour and see how that goes. So let's do it. All right, guys. So I ran 3D Firestrike or 3D Mark Firestrike several times. I wanted to get it under load a bit, and the temps were doing pretty good. Got that score of 5301 on just Firestrike. And it ran pretty solid. This is a pretty intensive synthetic test. I got a graphics score of 5,264 with an average frame rate of around 29, and then 18 for test 2. I got a physics score of 14,568 with your average frames per second being around 46. And then I got a combined score of 2789. So all in all, a pretty good test score. Not too bad. So let's go ahead and move on to a more CPU intensive synthetic test, and let's see how it works out. Alright, so I ran it several times. As you can see, it looks like the hotter it got, it went a little bit slower there. I had an initial score of 1064, and then it went down to 979, then to 958. So I believe that's just the thermals. As the temps got a little hotter, it was kind of slowing down a little bit. But it looks like a pretty solid score. Plus, also I've got all this other stuff running, and I'm running an update for my gaming benchmarks here shortly, and a bunch of other software. But all in all, it's kind of staying in the 900 to 1000 area on the score there. And it says 4.2, but I am running that at 4.8 overclock. But I still haven't changed the voltage or anything. I'm going to hold off on that for now and kind of tweak that later on. But there you go. So let's move on to the gaming benchmarks and see how it goes. Okay, guys. So I'm in Doom here. Go to video. We've got a borderless window, high motion blur, V-Sync's on. Any aliasing is at TSS-AA. Then it looks like we've got custom quality. Everything's ultra. Anisotropic filtering is at 4x. All the little tick boxes are checked on, so we got all the features on here. All right, so let's get into this gameplay and see if that 60 frames per second that it's locked on holds. Jump in here. I haven't played this in a while, so I might die. We'll see. Let it load up real fast. And it did load up pretty fast. Let's see where we're at here. Looks like we're holding right around that 60 FPS area there. Jump up here. Try to find some enemies, get a lot of stuff going on the screen, and see what we do. Gameplay's really smooth though. This RGB PC is really holding its own. It's not having any issues with this game at all. See, it's not even a hiccup. It's just running real smooth. I don't know where enemies are. There we go. We're doing real good here. Got a lot of stuff going on the screen right now. Still running real smooth. it looks like it's staying right at 60 frames per second. It's not giving me any trouble. So not bad, not bad. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game and see what happens. Okay guys, so I'm running Overwatch here. It's on all set to Ultra, and we're gonna see how it runs. I expect it to run perfect. I'm locked into 60 frames per second right now. We'll get a little action going here and see how we do. I expect it to do just fine. It's not a very... Overwatch isn't a very intensive game, graphically at all. It's pretty easy to run. As you can see, it's running really smooth. And I'm running that 4.8 still. Next, I'm going to test another game that's more CPU intensive. I want to see if there's any instability with me overclocking without changing the voltage to 4.8. And we'll see how it goes. But for now, it looks like Overwatch is running at 60, and it's holding. It's not budging at all. Get over here and get a little action, see how we can do. That was quick. Okay. Anyway, as you can see, it's running good. Very smooth, no problems at all. So let's move on to some Grand Theft Auto. Alright guys, I've got the advanced graphics, everything's on there. Everything's set here. I've got it at 1080 full screen. And it looks like everything should be pretty much set to very high and ultra. Grass is on ultra, everything's very high. I don't know, are there ultra options for that? Okay, so very high is pretty much ultra. Reflection MSAA is on X4. Looks like. Anisotropic filtering is on X16. I'm going to drop that down to X8. Tessellation's very high. So really high, and this is a very, Grand Theft Auto 5 is a very CPU intensive game. So it's going to be heavily dependent on the 7700K. And I'm curious to see how that's going to perform with that overclock to 4.8 gigahertz without changing the voltage. I want to see if there's any instability there, which there are other tests you can run, synthetic tests and CPU tests, like Prime 95 and things like that. But just for the sake of gaming, it's a gaming rig. That's what it's, for. So I'm going to run this, and I'm curious to see how it's going to perform. This is one of the more intensive games out on the market. So let's go ahead and I'm also running a bunch of software and everything at the same time, and also obviously recording. So let's see how it works. Okay, let's go ahead and hit enter to apply. Back out of this. And let's give it a shot. I'm running around 90, I jumped around there. 89 frames per second right now, to 90. Get some scenes moving around here. Drop down to the 80s there. Seeing quite a bit of variation on the frames per second in this game. You got a lot of lighting and everything like that. Looks like I'm running around the mid-80s to the mid-90s, somewhere in that area. It's bouncing around, jumped up to 104 per second there. I shouldn't have a license in this game. But I am seeing a lot of variation, and I expected that I would. Because this is a lot more heavily dependent on the CPU versus the GPU, which is... The GPU's handling it just fine. Now, let's get out of that car, kind of run around a little bit. But it looks like I'm easily playing this game. Scoring very well, running real smooth. And I expected it would. I was a little curious to see how the CPU intensity would affect it. I'm not seeing any instabilities so far. Little screen tearing there, but I think that's just my monitor. I'm not even sure if that picks up on the recording.
Analyzing Hamlet to yourself again?
But yeah, it looks pretty good. Let's
I'm not looking for any shit here.
try to make some explosions or something. way of blowing something up. I don't even know if I have enough ammo for this. There we go. Just want to get some extra explosions and stuff in here to see how it works. And it's staying around the 90s to 100 area on the frames per second. Pretty good overall. I'm pretty impressed with it. I like where it's at. Because this is one of the more graphically intensive games out there, and it's a very CPU-based game as well. So I like where this is. Let's go ahead and do like another test or two, and we'll see how it goes. Alright guys, so I'm in Battlefield 1. Let's pull up the options here. Let's go to video. Oh, let's go to video. Got VSync on. Everything's set to ultra. Let's jump into this game and see what we get here. Back and resume. It's running at 60 frames. It's running real smooth. A lot of stuff going on here, so good test gaming here. Battlefield 1 is pretty graphically intensive. It's going to be in your higher range of graphics in gaming as of right now. I'm probably going to die. I haven't played this a lot yet. And as you can see, there's a lot going on. A lot of smoke, a lot of fire. I'm just going to run out here, get crazy, probably die. Bad time to reload. Yeah, I'm about to die, I think. But, you can see a lot of stuff going on. And it's running at 60 frames. It's not budging. Looks like we had a minimum of 9. Probably a little hiccup or something there. But we're averaging 51 or so, and in a max of 61. I think it's locked.
So many of us think.
But yeah, with that said, let's go ahead and do one more game, and then that'll be about the end of it. Okay guys, so I've got Mass Effect Andromeda up now, just because it's a newer AAA game, and I wanted to just kind of run around a little bit and see how well a new game plays. And obviously it's going at 60 frames per second, so that's what I expected. I guess the point is, this build is going to be able to run anything out right now at pretty much ultra. I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I'm just running around. And it's also going to be pretty easy to future-proof it a little bit. And it's probably going to run ultra on anything that comes out in the next year or two. Hopefully. We'll see how it goes, though. But yeah, that should about do it, guys. Just kind of running around, seeing if I get any frame drops or anything like that. But it's holding at 60. It's not moving. So yeah, if you guys like this video, hit like, hit dislike, leave some feedback, let me know what you guys think, and that should about do it. So I will catch you guys later. Have a good one.